"You dirty rat," which apparently Cagney never said.
Come out and take it, you dirty yellow-bellied rat, or I'll give it to you through the door.
This is one of those examples of a Mandela effect.
You dirty rat.
You dirty rat.
You dirty rat.
You dirty rat.
Never said it. Ladies and gentlemen, and humans of Earth, and pest controllers,
Was obviously infested with Reticularius mariacoma.
and vermin exterminators, I'd like to talk today about rats. Whoa, hold on, don't click away. Rats are cool, man. Hang in there. This will be painless. You will barely feel the tickle of their whiskers upon your consciousness. You probably don't want to think about rats and their whiskers being close to any part of you. Their little grubby hands and their greasy tails and their twitching noses, and this is not a good start. Rats. They're just like us. No. If you believe that. If your first response to me saying that is to say, no, Janine, they're vermin, well, let me ask you, how do you think planet Earth feels about us humans?
I hate you.
Skirting about all over its surface. Are we not the vermin? Oh, Janine, that's a bit intense. This is supposed to be a joyous occasion. You just compared humans to rats. But are we? You're right, of course. I've started off on quite a negative note. Here is a picture of a fennec fox. Aw, cute. And here is a picture of a rat. And we're back. This week's post was called "Welcome to the Rat-Ture." And of course, there's a play on words there because like rapture and Rat-Ture. See what I did there? So there's this thing called the Rat-Ture where all the believers in the world get raptured and get the shared Uber and ascend to wherever it is they're going together. Well, the Rat-Ture would be just like that, but you would go down, descend into the pit that we ourselves no doubt dug with like increased mining operations, trying to like just really milk the earth for all it's worth.
I hate you.
Again, taking a turn there with tone, Janine, just dial it back. So the post, I was inspired this week by an article I read about a scientific study that suggested that rats they didn't do that, but I think that's what they didn't want to really commit to the idea, but rats may have the power of, wait for it, imagination. They might have imaginations, not just humans, rats too. Oh, what a glorious day to discover that. Similarities between the two species, imaginations.
Imagine.
And I, of course, go straight to the, what does a rat brain imagine?
Nation.
Do they dream up just stories of heroism or bravado, superheroes, and love stories, and just like living in the future, living in the past, time travel? Do they dream? Is it like dreaming? Is it like, do androids dream of electric sheep? No, that's a different concept.
Tears. And rain.
But these are just the things that popped into my imagination about rats' imaginations. But then I was like, what actually is imagination? Is it like dreams? Are dreams a subset of imagination?
Sweet dreams are made of these.
Let me read something to you off this piece of paper that I prepared earlier. In psychology, imagination generally refers to the ability to mentally represent sensations that are not physically present. For example, if a person contemplates the feel, texture, smell, taste of a lemon without actually feeling, touching, tasting, or smelling the lemon, then they are using the power of imagination.
Your imagination.
You know, like Walt Disney. Just like that. I know you love quotes, so here's another one. You ready? Imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited to all we know now and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world
I hate you.
and all there ever will be to know and understand. You know who said that? Your boy, Albert Einstein. So if you have imagination, you can explore the realms of a world that is not physically present. For example, we can imagine a future world with the technologies and what the world looks like and the landscape, as we have in so many science fiction motion pictures, without ever having physically been there, because it's the future. That's your imagination. Or you can imagine yourself in a past world, dealing with all sorts of past things, like dinosaurs and cavemen and pterodactyls plucking you from the earth and flying off with you into the sky, even though you've never been there. Or you can imagine a familiar thing, like a cookie. You can imagine it here, in your hand, even though it's not here. I mean, you get the point. Do you think that's what rats are imagining? In the news report that I read about the study, because I didn't actually read the study itself, I can't imagine myself being smart enough to understand that kind of science stuff. Science! Regardless, in the news report, it said that, like humans, rodents could navigate through a space using only their mind, their thoughts, which suggested to them that rats had the capability of imagination. Sounds a bit flimsy, but flimsy is good enough for this brain to imagine a whole fictitious account of a rat named Werner lecturing humans on why the rats had to accelerate their plans for global domination because humans had found out that rats had imaginations. Maybe you think that sounds flimsy, but I just write something every week. That's all I do.
The most important thing is work.
And part of that acceleration of the plan of global domination involved them putting all the humans in a pit, the Rat-Ture. See how I tied that all back? The Rat-Ture. When I was writing this, I tried to find all the rat slurs that we humans use to describe other humans with rat-like characteristics.
You dirty rat.
I already said you dirty rat.
Because I figured rats would probably be, they've been suffering this slander for centuries. They're probably a little snooty about it. Hence the, wanting to overtake the world and become the dominant species ahead of humans.
I hate you.
And if they were finally going to kick off the Rat-Ture, they'd probably have a list of grievances that, when addressing the humans in the pit, they would just highlight, just so that humans could understand, using their imaginations, why they were down in the hole.
Down in the hole.
So we've got, just to name a few, faster than a rat up a drain pipe, which, is that actually a slur? Because that suggests speed. Speed's a good thing, right? Filthy rat, dirty rat you out, rat fink, etc. That kind of meaning for rat, for being someone who's a double-crossing scumbag.
You think I'm a fucking rat?
You rat. I'm going to rat you out. I mean, I can understand why they'd be upset about that being used to signify, it's a human characteristic. Rats would never tattletale on each other. It's wrong. Dirty rat and filthy rat, that could also just mean hygiene. If someone thinks you're just dirty, just an unsanitary kind of person, you live in a rat's nest, your hair's a rat's nest. Oof. I mean, it could be argued that rats are only filthy because we're filthy. Like, we create the garbage piles and the filth and the just goo and mess that they can just ferret through. Not ferret, they're not ferrets, they're rats. But rats are only filthy because we're the filthy animals, surely. I mean, they've got a point. If we didn't create these fetid, feculent, just disease-ridden piles of goop.
You filthy animal.
And rubbish that we discard like it's just out of sight, out of mind. I think we as a species don't like to think of the rats being kings of our garbage piles because it makes us look at our garbage piles and think that maybe. So we, attribute the blame to the creature on top of the pile rather than looking at the pile itself that we ourselves created. It's just all about perspective. I mean, we attribute blame and then we point at them and say how filthy and dirty they are and we laugh as they pull pizza slices down subway stairs. Disgusting. Ugh. Think about it. You don't need imagination to think the human-rat connection. Which brings us to Scabby. Now, a scab is someone who crosses a picket line. Not the thing on your knee that falls off or you pick at. Although, actually, pick at. Is that why it's called a scab? Wait. Scabs crossing picket lines brings us to labour unions, which brings us to Scabby the Rat. Glorious king of the inflatables. Let's call him that. For those who aren't familiar with Scabby, this is Scabby. He is, as I said, a giant inflatable rat. Like he's 10 feet tall. An American icon. Scabby the Rat, when he gets inflated in front of your restaurant or your construction site or wherever the hell it is, it's a sign that you, inside, the person running this thing, you're doing something that's not cool. Either you're treating your workers bad, you're using non-union labour, it's just bad for the workers. Shit that's going on in that place. Hero to the worker, to management, less so. Stick it to the man, Scabby. Now, I said in the story that the rats were angry that humans had appropriated Scabby's good name and used him to show a bad side of humans, whereas Scabby is an icon. It should be celebrated, not to be made to look like this filthy, just sharp-clawed, angry-looking rat with, like, festering nipples. And, wait, is Scabby a lady rat? I mean, men have nipples too. He's not adored and universally admired by everyone. He has been stabbed numerous times. Fortunately, there is more than one Scabby. Estimated between 40 and 60 Scabbies in existence. Other fun Scabby facts?
The rat.
He was in an episode of The Sopranos back in 2002.
It's fucking Jimmy.
Cool. Scabby is so on the side of the worker that he's had to be defended in court up to 50 times, I think I read. Also a frequent victim of vandalising. I mentioned the stabbing earlier, but he's also been involved in some hit and runs. And I said multiple stabbings. Humans have no self-control. Which is why Werner, the rat in the piece, is letting everybody know, all the humans, that their time of domination is over and the rats will take it from here. Now, hasn't this been a fun romp through my brain, through my imagination? I thought this whole thing up. I imagined Werner at the rostrum giving his little speech to the naked, frightened, terrified, shivering humans in the pit, wondering what their future held as a rat addressed them. I imagined a world where, upon learning that humans had discovered their secret, that they had imaginations, rats had to fast-track their plans for global domination. I made the whole thing up. But is any of this real? Are we living in someone's imagination right now? For the humans in the pit, are they just imagining the rat? Is the rat imagining them? I imagined it all, but am I in someone's imagination? Are you? Are any of us really here? Are we in the world? Are we destroying the world? Are we the rats?
I hate you.
Are we the vermin? Is this like a scenario that's being run by someone else? Are we in the lab? Are we the lab rats? Will rats take over? Cockroaches? Meerkats? I'm just saying words now. If we can imagine our own destruction, why can't we imagine a way out of it? Innovation, invention, it's all linked. We have to be open to the possibility of turning it around, of not letting the rats take over, of not descending into the pit, naked and afraid. We may treat rats like vermin, which they are, I'm not saying they're not. But let's imagine for a moment a way out of this fate, a way out of being addressed in a pit by a rat named Werner. Turn the imaginary mirror on ourselves. Are we the rat? Can you imagine something better? Whew. Too deep? Rat brain. Oh, rats. Rat-Ture. Do you think Rat-Ture was like an effort by the rat branding board trying to up their image in the world?
I don't want to eat garbage, Dad.
Do you think I lost it this week? See you next week. If we make it, if the rats don't take over.